Hey guys, I've been getting lots of requests for photographs and updates on what we've been up to. So I'm going to try to attempt to do one quick film to try to satisfy everyone. So I beg a little indulgence here. I don't know how much of the backstory to give, perhaps to say that we spent about 3 years minimalizing, downsizing everything we owned. So we sold a lot of things, gave some stuff away, donated things, but the idea that we had was to try to live life a little more purposefully. And I guess we were leaning really into an alternative lifestyle, and I think we've probably arrived. But maybe a year and a half into that, we discovered sailing. So a shout out to Anna and Wolfgang for introducing us to the idea that perhaps living on a sailboat was a possibility. What followed was a string of YouTube explorations, probably like most people. So we are huge La Vagabond fans. We lived on Delos for the longest time, and they convinced us that there was another lifestyle that was available to us. Project Atticus probably gets the biggest shout out because they convinced us we could do this. So it's important for us to have people to blame, and we have a long list. We began our search for a sailboat. It took us about a year to find our sailboat. We were looking for a project, in our defense. That's all we could afford, actually, was a project. So we had sold our home in order to afford it, and spent the last probably 4 months, I would say, living in and out of Airbnbs, crisscrossing Florida looking for boats. We did find a boat we bought out of probate. So as soon as we took possession of the boat, we moved it to Seminole Marina in West Palm Beach for a haul out. We really hadn't got to spend a lot of time on it or around it, and while we knew we had a good platform to do what we had hoped to do, there still is a lot of unknowns. So until we hauled it out, we knew we were going to need a bottom job, but until we hauled out the boat, we really didn't know exactly everything that we were going to be up against. It turns out, I think, in retrospect, we are better off than we imagined. Of course, we always had fears that it was going to be terrible, but it didn't. Not only did it not end up to be terrible, there were quite a lot of advantages, a lot of things that we were able to discover on the boat along the way. So the good thing is, it was owned by its prior owner was definitely a cruiser, someone who loved the boat and respected the boat, and although it had been in a state of neglect for the last, maybe year, it really was in great shape. So anyway, enough of that. I'll show you the photos along the way. That's not to say it was clean or nice or perfect by any means. It's definitely a project boat. That's what we were after. Okay, so I'm calling this the before shot. Are you ready? A lot of work to do. Okay, so 1 weekend. What a difference a week makes. So we started with brand new bottom coat, which you should be able to see pretty well. Sanded this completely down. I think that was the last shot we showed last time. Brand new paint, a little bit of a boot stripe. Just going to need a little more touch-up kind of as we come along. And then we have put a brand new coat of white up top as a top side in order to seal in kind of what was there before. But man, what a difference. Looks really good this week. Okay, so the other big job this week was removing and replacing the cutlass bearing, which is going to be kind of difficult to see, but it's this brass ring inside of this piece here, right there. Quite a trick to get that bad boy out and get a new one back in. Of course, we've also cleaned up the prop as we redid the bottom paint. So, got a little bit of touch-up work still left to do on the hull. Of course, we got some renaming to do, and that's about it for getting us in the water. Well, it's an early morning, but we're in the sling getting ready to splash. So our haul out at Seminole Marina was to put a bottom job on. We did have a couple of small things that we wanted to check. We ended up replacing the cutlass bearing. We put a little bit of paint. We went a little beyond just the bottom job. We wanted to kind of clean things up and at least kind of make it aesthetically pleasing, because we knew we were moving into a marina and we just didn't want to be that neighbor. But mechanically, we still had some challenges. The first thing was an electrical system that wasn't holding a charge, and without holding the charge, we can't power everything on the boat, which means that we can't actually live on the boat. So we did our best to accomplish those things in the initial haul out, but because we were doing painting, the weather wasn't really that permitting. So we were scheduled to be in the yard for 7 days. I think our hard date for having to leave the yard was 9 days. We used all of that 9 days. We still had not conquered our electrical issues, but we did get the paint done. We did get the cutlass bearing done. We got a couple of small projects done. And then we were able to move out of the yard, back into the water, and to a dry dock to a floating dock where we spent the last 2 days just working on electrical issues. We had some concerns with electric. I did not film much of that, and I'll try to get better at that. It was mostly because I set the camera down in order to try to solve the problem. And if any of you have worked on boats, you know that probably 80% of the project is what I'm calling boat yoga. Climbing into cabinets and under berths and into lazarettes and trying to trace wires, and anyway. So many apologies for not filming that. Probably would have been boring. Suffice it to say, we ended up with a brand new battery bank. We rewired the charger and the AC system, and we were holding a charge. Long and short of it is, we were free to get out of the yard. So we moved the boat from West Palm down to Key Largo. That was a 25-hour run. Now we did this, of course, going head-on into Laura, Hurricane Laura. Marco was a little further south at the moment, but we were pretty much beating dead into the wind. So we did attempt to put the sails up twice, I think, along the way. Just really negligible difference, just beating into it the whole time. So this was really a motor. We motored down to Key Largo. On top of that, the Gulf Stream had swung a little closer to shore, and we had those storms approaching from the south. So we also were mostly just kind of on a reach. We were taking kind of some cross currents, if you will. So it's awful rolly. How about I just say this? Not a lot of food was eaten on this 25-hour period. Pretty rolly, straight shot down, but a beautiful time. And I have to admit, it was the first time that 3 years worth of plotting and dreaming and thinking and concerning actually turned into reality, and it was quite a trip. So we arrived in Key Largo without incident. We are now tied up at the marina where we're living for the next few months and knocking out a few more boat projects, and I will do my best to be taping these as we go. Videotaping, I guess that's not the word anymore. To be filming, I'll be doing my best to be filming these along the way. I have a lot of cleaning, a lot of discovery, got some big jobs kind of coming up, so I'll shoot something every so often in order to post and keep you updated. But the short version of the story is we are safe and sound in Key Largo, hurricane-free Key Largo. You can see it's a beautiful day, and the boat projects continue.